now we will continue with the results of the Yamamoto study. So in the cannot see condition, object offers were made 95.8% of the time, out of which 28.3% were voluntary. Now this tells us that there was a lot more voluntary helping in the cannot see condition, and we believe that this is a carryover effect. And voluntary helping increased particularly for I and Ayumu. So again, 24 with stick and 24 trials with the straw. And the tool offers were as follows. So I made a tool offer 89.4% of the time. Pal made a tool offer 100% of the time. Ayumu made a tool offer 93% of the time. Now, the problem with Ayumu, the reason we've called him a peeper here, is because even though this was supposed to be the cannot see condition, Ayumu looked through to his partner by peeping through the window where they were supposed to exchange tools, right? So he looked through the window, and for him, technically, the cannot see condition became the can see condition. This again is more proof of individual differences, and this will be counted as qualitative data. And Pan again offered the paintbrush for the majority of the trials. Now, when we move on to the other results where they tell us how much of each tool was offered, the tools were offered at random, and the chimpanzees here were pretty unsuccessful in getting the juice reward. And keep in mind that we're only counting first offers, which means we're only counting the tool that the chimpanzees first offer to the recipient. So the first offers were mainly incorrect because they could not see what the chimpanzee would require, right? And this again shows that there is instrumental helping when chimpanzees make a decision to help, and they use visual cues to assess their partner's situation before providing help. Now this is the can-see-B condition. This is technically a control against order effects because we use the repeated measures design. So we did the can-see condition again, and we wanted to see if the results of the first can-see condition would be replicated, and that would negate any order effects. So object offers were made 97.9% of the time, out of which 79.4 were upon request. So again, the trend of direct request is greater than the trend of voluntary, but it's still increasing. So this was again. So tool offers percentages were pretty similar. Pal offered a tool 100% of the time, just like last time. I offered it 81.3% of the time. Cleo offered it 95.7% of the time. And Pan was again offering a paintbrush for the majority of the trials. And the results of these trials for the first try were consistent with CAMC A, and we saw that many of our chimpanzees offered the correct tool in the first try. So where a stick was needed, a stick was offered, and where a straw was needed, a straw was typically offered. So what we find out from this study is typically how chimpanzees help, and we have figured out some key underlying mechanisms of how chimpanzees help each other. So first is that chimpanzees are unlikely to help each other without direct request. So as you could see, majority of the tool offers that were made were upon request and not voluntary. Second thing we figured out was that chimpanzees are motivated to help regardless of whether they understand the situation. This is proven both by Pan helping when she was offering the paintbrush, even though she knew the paintbrush would not help. And this is also proven by the cannot see condition. So the amount of tool offers were the same, but they were incorrect. And the third is that chimpanzees can understand and evaluate the needs of their conspecifics, which means that they show empathy or some inkling of theory of mind. So they are able to understand their situation of other chimpanzee and able to help like that. And so we typically use use this research to compare humans versus animals. So when we compared them, we conducted a study with 18-month-old toddlers and 30-month-old toddlers to find out what is similar between their helping behavior. And we find out that chimpanzees act more like 18-month-old toddlers. Now, this could be an application for your study as well, which makes it more useful. So now the information that we get from the study, we can use it to train 18-month-old toddlers to be more empathetic and to be more helpful. But there are key differences between human and animal helping, is that humans typically don't require direct requests. So when you see someone fall down in the train, you know that you have to help them, so you help them without their asking you typically. Whereas chimpanzees, whether or not they understand the situation, will not help unless the help is directly requested. So humans and chimpanzees might also differ in the onset mechanism of helping. But because there is a lack of the proper rigorous research conducted on this topic, we cannot be certain just how related these two are. And the reason this study is important is because it provides us with observable evidence of primates' flexible helping. There are pretty many few studies that have been done like this. This is the graphical representation of the three trials that we conducted. As you can see the majority of which tool was offered in which condition. So for stick trials, majority of the offers were stick, and for the straw trials, majority of the offers were straw in the can-see condition. And this is consistent in both the can-see conditions, whereas in the cannot see, it was pretty much an even number because they did not see their recipient. So this is the end of